Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Karen Morton. I'm the Regional Director for the Republican Liberty Caucus of Florida. And we are here this afternoon to cover our candidates in Clay County. This hour we are going to be talking with our candidates for Florida State Senate District 5. Now, we did reach out to both candidates that will be on your ballot. Jennifer Bradley, while I do understand, I've been informed that her husband's been diagnosed with COVID. She did not respond to our requests. We also have with us, though, the second candidate, Jason Holyfield. So he will have the opportunity to answer the questions that we would have posed to both of them. I'm now going to turn over the forum to our moderator. He is a retired Navy captain, former congressional candidate for District 4, and the national spokesman for We Can Be Heroes Foundation, Ryman Schoaf.
Thank you, Karen. Appreciate that. Mr. Holyfield, let me just go over just the guidelines so you know what we're going to do today.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be a lot easier, I think. I found it fairly easy when I had 8 people up there, and then I got to 2, and suddenly it was starting to confuse me. Now I'm down to 1, so maybe I'll be able to get through this, okay? It'll be fairly easy because usually I tell the other individuals that if you say something about the other person that you have 30 seconds to rebut, but unless you take a shot at yourself, you won't need that extra 30 seconds, okay? No need to argue with yourself since you're the only one.
Yes, sir.
What we'll do is I'll give you 2 minutes to open to state your position of why you should be voted into this position, and then we'll go through the questions, and then when we're done, I'll give you 2 minutes to close to, again, state your position of why you should be voted for. You don't have to take the full time, but I will tell you beforehand how much time you have on each question. As we get close to the time, when we get to 15 seconds, you'll get a 15-second sign. Okay, when your time is up, we'll wave Old Glory at you. And if you decide to just keep on talking, you can get the dreaded cowbell. Okay, and you may have heard that sound before. I'm not sure, but you know what it sounds like now. Okay, fair enough?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And this is your 2-minute open. The floor is yours. Oh, let me stand one other thing. Even though I'm asking the questions, talk as if there's an audience here because the camera's in the back and everyone watching today is watching through the camera, which is you. Some of the earlier candidates, even though they were asking the questions, would tend to look at me. I'm just asking the questions. I'm not that important. Okay? Now over to you. Here's your 2 minutes.
Okay, first of all, I'm Jason Holyfield. I'm a conservative Republican candidate for Florida State Senate District 5. The first thing I'd like to do is thank God for the opportunity to run for any office. I'd like to thank our veterans and our military as well for all of our freedoms. I'd like to thank my wife. She's in the crowd, and you usually ask the crowd to give her a hand, but those of y'all that are here, I'd ask y'all to give her a hand. So thank you, honey. You're my rock. I couldn't do anything without you. But a little bit about me, who I am and what I stand for. I'm a Christian, first and foremost. I'm conservative. I'm pro-life. I'm pro-gun. I think I'm the only pro-gun candidate family in the race. But I've had experience as a county commissioner for 8 years in my home county, Dixie County. I'm the only candidate with experience as being an elected official in office. Some things that I was thankful to do that I would like to continue to do as your state senator is, number one, stay in touch with the people. These offices are about helping people. It's about staying in touch with the people. It's not about me and my agenda. It's about helping people and staying in touch with the people. And then secondly, having the backbone to do what's right. Now, God has blessed me with the backbone to do that, and I didn't know that I had that quality until I was a county commissioner, but I realized through being a commissioner that God has allowed me to have that backbone that everybody didn't have. There's so many people that just go with the flow on anything and everything that comes along. I'm not going to do that. I'll be the guy that stands up for what's right, regardless of who else goes the other way. Thank you so much.
Okay. It's our first question. You'll have 1 minute to respond. The question is, what legislative changes would you carry or co-sponsor regarding religious freedom in our schools?
I would love to co-sponsor or spearhead legislation to bring prayer back in our schools. I think that's one of the greatest things, as a child that I did. We prayed and we pledged the flag when I was a student in elementary school, and I would love to bring prayer back to school.
Are you done? Okay. Next question. You have 2 minutes to answer this question. 2 years ago, Florida passed the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas bill that included a red flag law that allows any person to allege danger from a licensed gun owner and allows for mechanisms for those guns to be confiscated with no warning and without any due process to determine the validity of the claim. There are sheriffs across the U.S. who have refused to follow the red flag laws in their states because they say it is unconstitutional. Other sheriffs are confiscating weapons frequently. We asked the same question to the sheriff candidates earlier this morning. What we want to know is, what is your stand on the red flag laws and why?
Well, I'm so thankful that you asked that question, because that's one of the major issues in this race. Your current state senator, Mr. Bradley, he voted yes for the red flag law, and now I'm running against his wife in the Republican primary. So, yes, that's a big deal. I would love to repeal the red flag law, and I see it as a great disability to our Constitution. It goes against your Second Amendment rights. It goes against due process, and I'm totally in favor of repealing the red flag law. And being in government, I realize that you have to have a consensus. There's 40 state legislatures and there's 120 in the House of Representatives. And I can't sit up here and say that, everybody's going to go along with repealing that. But me, for one, I can say for me, I'm for repealing it. And if we can't get a consensus to repeal it, at least amend that red flag law to make it a little bit more easier to deal with. But I'd like to see it repealed if I had my way. Thank you.
For our next question, I'll give you 1 minute. In addition to the red flag law, this bill also included age restrictions on firearm purchases and bans on firearm accessories. Would you be willing to sponsor and vote to repeal the 218 bill? And if the answer is no, for your reasons for your position.
Well, the answer is yes. I'd love to repeal the 218 bill that changed the age limit from 18 to 21. I am familiar with that, and I think it goes against our Constitution. It goes against our Second Amendment rights that our forefathers granted us in the original United States Constitution. I mean, that's what our country was founded on, our Second Amendment rights. And when they take away your Second Amendment rights, all of your other rights are in jeopardy. Now, my wife's family, I loved her Cuban side of the family. My wife's daddy was Cuban, and we saw Fidel Castro do the same thing in Cuba. I mean, the first thing he did was take the guns away, and when you do that, you can take over a country. So I'm pro-gun. I'd love to see that repealed. Thank you.
Okay. Next question. You have 1 minute to answer. Continuing with the Second Amendment issues, what's your position on open carry?
Well, I'm a concealed carry permit guy myself. I carry a Lady Smith & Wesson. It's a hammerless Smith in my pocket when I'm able to do so legally. And I have a concealed carry permit. I would love to carry openly, and I feel like constituents throughout the district would like to see open carry implemented, and I'll be for that, not only because it's what I want, but I believe the constituents in our district want that. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to push my thoughts in the state legislature, but I'm here to represent what the people want, and I believe the people want open carry in the state of Florida, and at least in North Florida. Thank you.
Okay. Next question. 2 minutes to answer this one. And as you can tell, we have the Second Amendment seems to be a high priority, because that's another question on that. So how do we counter the constant barrage of gun control bills in the legislature and initiatives for the ballot? In other words, what can be done to strengthen the current gun rights statute to ensure that our gun rights are unfringed as the Second Amendment states?
Well, I believe that's a great question. First and foremost, I would like to work hand in hand with the Florida Gun Rights Group. I think they're more a proactive group on implementing and proposing new legislation for guns. We need to vote no. We need to simply vote no on any gun legislation, this anti-gun legislation. A lot of people don't understand that when you're in government, whether you're a county commissioner or a city official or you're in the state legislature, simply you need to have the backbone to say yes or no on what's right or wrong. And I'm not an attorney. I won't profess to be an attorney, but I know right from wrong, and I know that I will say no on gun legislation that's anti-gun legislation, and I will say yes on pro-gun legislation. Thank you.
Thank you. For the next question, you have 2 minutes to answer. There are currently over 1 million illegal aliens in the state of Florida. Florida passed a sanctuary city ban in 2019, which requires all law enforcement to cooperate with immigration enforcement. A mandatory E-Verify bill in 2020 was passed that requires government entities at all levels and their contractors to check work status verification when they hire. Where do you stand on these issues? Would you like me to read it again?
No, sir, I've got it.
Okay.
Well, I realize there's a problem there, and I also realize that we need immigrant workers, but they need to be legal. They should follow the due process provided by law to become legal so we could use their services, and they can work and go back into from where they're from. So I'm not against people coming here and getting a visa for work, but they should follow the law. They should follow the procedure, and I think everything will be fine if they do what they're supposed to do. Thank you.
Okay. Next question, and I'll give you 2 minutes on this one as well. And this is, again, back to agriculture, because there's lots of agriculture in this area. So for our agriculture areas, many farmers use undocumented or illegal aliens to work the farms. What programs would you like to see to follow state and federal immigration laws, yet provide workers for our farms or construction industries? How do we balance the two?
Well, being a farm owner, I know and understand this, because part of what I do is grow watermelons, and I've had to use different type of workers. As far as I know, they were legal, But we do need programs in place that makes it easier for these workers to come in, do the job they need to do, and go back home without a lot of red tape. So I don't have, all the answers for that. I'm not going to act like I do, but I do realize it's a problem, and I will be happy to work with other state legislatures to come up with a solution. But I think it's important to, to first document when they come into our state, and secondly, make sure they have the correct documentation they need. Thank you.
Okay, for the next question, you'll have 2 minutes to answer. How can we help teachers and school employees with the rising cost for health care?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because if elected, when we get elected, that's the first bill we want to introduce is a bill that helps school teachers with their health insurance. There's a lot of people that's got their hands involved in school insurance, and it shouldn't be so. There's no reason why your school employees' health insurance couldn't be consolidated with other state workers. We just simply need all the legislators to come together and vote for a bill that would help the school teachers. Now, my wife's mother, she just retired, 25 years as a school teacher. My mother was a school teacher. My sister's a school teacher. So I'm hearing this all around the district, and I've especially heard it in Clay County, that school teachers have the highest insurance rates that I've heard of. And if you track it back to the reason why, it comes down to the state legislature. So yes, I want to help teachers any way we can. Thank you.
Okay, for the next question, you have 1 minute. Would you support or oppose term limits for school board members across the state, and state your position of why you would support or oppose those limits?
Well, term limits are not always the best subject, especially with other politicians. But in my heart, I believe that 2 terms, 3 at the most, that's enough for anyone in office. If someone goes in office and they serve a couple terms, it's proven they're going to do a better job than someone that's in there 40 or 50 years. So I'm for term limits. I'm pro term limits. I'd love to see term limits across the board. That's just in my heart. I feel like that's the right thing to do, and I also feel like that's what our constituents want. I've heard it from many. Thank you.
Okay, for the next question, you'll have 2 minutes. Many consider state nullification of federal laws as being an outdated concept, and instead consider the Supreme Court to be the final word on the constitutionality of our laws. What are your views on nullification, and what would you do as a legislator to oppose federal laws harmful to Floridians?
Well, I believe, this is a separate subject, but it's also along the same line. I know from being a county commissioner, we had home rule, which allowed us in our county to build ordinances and laws the way we saw fit for our county. And I was for home rule. That's for each county to have their own jurisdiction. That's representation from your local community. And I think we also need that on the state level. We don't need someone from Washington coming in and telling Florida how we have to live. We need Floridians electing state officials to vote for and implement the laws that's going to govern people living in the state of Florida. Okay,
next question, 2 minutes to answer. Considering the loss of state revenues due to COVID and recognizing our need to maintain a surplus, a budget surplus to get us through our weather emergencies, what do you see as a path to cut the budget yet maintain our constitutionally required balanced budget?
Well, I've seen this in and out of county government. Now, it's easy to say you're going to do this or that, but until you get elected and you're in that office and you're dealing with the budget, you don't really know what you have until you get there. But I can tell you this, there's always room to cut, there's always fat to be cut out of the budget, and I guarantee you, I think the state budget's around $90 billion. We have enough to get us through this COVID. I feel confident there's plenty of money to be had in the $90 billion Florida budget that we'll be able to get through the COVID okay. And there's always fat to be cut. As a county commissioner, I loved working in the budget. Now, our county budget was only $20 million, but the process is still the same. There's always room. I don't believe we should ever raise taxes. I'm not for raising taxes. There's always room in a budget to cut. So that's basically my concept on budgets. There's room to be cut. Let's cut where we need to be cut. Let's don't raise taxes. I'm not for raising taxes. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Holyfield, this is your last question, and you have 2 minutes to respond. Beyond the topics that we've already discussed, what is the one topic that you feel needs the attention and why?
Well, that's a super broad question, but I can tell you, in my race in particular, I'd like people to seek the truth. Look at me for who I am. Pray about who you're going to vote for. I'd like people to realize and understand that your current state senator has termed out, and by law, he's not able to run. He served 2 terms. He's not able to run by law, but now his wife is seeking election in the same office. Why would we send her to Tallahassee to make laws? So that's, in my race, that's the main topic. Thank you.
Okay, we're up to your 2-minute close.
Okay, I'm so thankful to have the opportunity to serve you guys in Tallahassee. I look forward to helping people. I look forward to being the kind of guy that will answer your calls and will respond to you via email, via social media, and work through different situations as they come up. One thing we didn't hit on is our state constitution. And I believe our state constitution was its best in its original form. I don't believe that we need to change our constitution at every whim. I'm about preserving our constitution. I'm a faith-based guy. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. And I think that if most people will search their heart, when it comes down to legislation, it's either a moral right or wrong answer. So I ask people that's considering who to vote for, pray about it, seek out truth in both the candidates. And other than that, I thank you for the opportunity. God bless you all.
Thank you. That concludes our forum for our state Senate candidates. Don't forget that Clay County voters can register and vote in our straw poll at tallyed.com. That's TALLYED.com. All straw poll races are up on our Liberty Caucus website. The user needs to click RLC straw poll in the My Ballot section of the homepage to see the ballot. Also, early voting for the primary starts in Clay County on Thursday, August 6th. Election Day is Tuesday, August 18th. On behalf of the Republican Liberty Caucus, we thank you for watching and for being an informed voter. It's important. Be informed and vote. Thank you.